And good morning. Today is day 4 of our 5-day online business starter challenge. And today, what we're going to talk about is building your online presence and how important that is for you to start your own online business. And so, when we come to that, um, I should start by saying the draw. So, the draw for yesterday's $25 Amazon gift card, which isn't going to be an Amazon gift card because long story. But anyway, so that person is named Jackson and he is from the UK. And so congratulations to Jackson. And now we're going to move into building your online presence and what that means for your digital online business. Um, Whatever it is, because when you're talking about your online business, um, that's really the important part, right? So we're just going to start with building your online presence. And today is day 4. And are you ready to find your focus? Okay. That's really what we're talking about today. And so when we're talking about building your online presence, there are two of the most important things in any online presence is your website as well as your email. And so when we're talking about these, really, if you think about it, your website or however you're going to sell, and I strongly encourage anybody out there to actually have a website. Don't just base your sales off of one of the social media platforms because they can be cumbersome and they can cause you a lot of issues. So really focus on making sure that you have a website for people to go to and look at and learn, as well as a professional email address. And I'll get into the professional email address in a little bit more, but those are the two um, really foundational things that you should consider when you're starting your own online business. And so because when you're dealing with the two of those, they are actually very crucial. And that's your showcase, right? So you want to come across as being professional with a website as well as an email with professional. And I'll get into the email a little bit more because there's a little bit more otherwise. So let's break it down a little bit more. So when it comes to your website, what should you do? What are the things that really matter? And you need to think about what you want for a domain name. And when I say that, it's because a domain name should be easy to remember and it should be implying as to what the website is about, or it needs to be you, right? So it needs to have a statement, and it's easy for people to remember. Don't want it to be long. And where are you going to buy the domain from? I have weird spacing on that one, actually. So I always suggest GoDaddy as being the place to buy your domain from. Yes, there are cheaper plans out there, um, but you don't get the support that you do with GoDaddy. And GoDaddy honestly has some of the best support I've well, customer service and support I've ever seen on this planet. They really do help you. And they will do so many things for you. I've known them to do so many different things that it's just an amazing thing to actually have that kind of support when you need it. So make sure that you actually, are there cheaper versions, but you can always find sales on the GoDaddy too. So really just pay attention and really, I would strongly say go GoDaddy. And really the other things that you'll see in a minute. So will it be a retail site or just a capture site? And if you're not sure of the difference, so a retail site is where somebody can go and actually buy a product from you. A capture site is usually typically just to get their emails to help you build their email list. And you can do that in multiple different ways as well. But that's one thing that you should really consider and that will depend on what your online business is. Like, is it a retail site or is it a capture site, or what is the purpose of your website? All of this kind of should be built in from your product and services. And then the other things are, how are people going to pay you? Because really, when you're online, you need to figure out how people are going to pay you. So, and depending on where you are in the world, whether your business is global, like our business is global, so we need to make sure that we have methods for people to pay us that work around the world. And we do. And then the other part is that, but if you're local and you just have a local market, um, you know, a lot of the smaller businesses will start with doing e-transfers, especially in Canada. Um, US seems to be sporadic, but there is ways to do it. So when you're looking at it, really look to see how people are going to pay you, because you have to keep that in the back of your mind as to what you want and how people are going to pay you. Those are just the crucial things. And so those are just for the starters. And now let's break it down, and we're going to go into the email. Now, when it comes to the email, you really have to think about this, because a lot of people think, yeah, I've got a Gmail email address and I don't need anything else. And the answer is no. And the reason for this is because in today's modern world, I say that kind of sarcastically, there is rules coming out now for like the main major email carriers like Gmail and Yahoo and Hotmail, and if you have a Hotmail address, cool, Outlook, and all of those are now coming up with more security for anti-spam. And just last week, Gmail from one company will no longer work to send from. So to your prospects or leads or purchasers, they will most likely end up in their spam or just won't send. And so that's why having a professional email address that matches your domain, and it's not that expensive. It's a cost of doing business. And so when you look at it, like it would be like, like ours is info@bluesquaresuccess.ca, and our domain is bluesquaresuccess.ca. So those are the kind of things that you kind of have to look at to see what that means and how you're going to do that. And again, you're going to go through GoDaddy, because GoDaddy has the best plan, and it's the most user-friendly, and it will set up wherever you want to go. So the other thing that I should have mentioned a little bit is that, do you need a hosting plan when it comes to your website? It depends on you. And using our system that we currently use with our online, we don't need a hosting plan. We have a free service that actually, well, a free platform that we can use, and they do our hosting for us, and it doesn't cost us anything. So don't pay for hosting. If you have any questions that you want me to answer specifically to the hosting, I can, but let's do that in a different way. You can send a question and I'll answer you, because that's a whole different category. And so now, and the other part that you need to think about is, how will you manage your emails? Because email management, while you're building a list, is just as important as actually having a functional email, right? So when you're looking at it, you need to make sure, how are you going to manage your emails? Are you going to have an automated service? Where are they all going to stay? How are you going to manage them? And again, I will tell you that the system that we currently use, which is a fantastic system, and actually I love it. It manages the emails. We have an automated system kicked in. We designed it. We tell them when to send it. That's all the way it goes. And how automated can your system be? Because realistically, if you don't have automation in your business, you're going to be busy, especially from your website. Because if people go to your website and send you an email, well, you're going to have to reply, right? So you have to make sure that your email is accessible to you on your phone, because let's face it, 99% of us are always on our phones. And you need it to make sure that there's something that's sent, so that if you have a conversation started by somebody in the middle of the night, there's something that they can get, so that they know that you are there to help them. All very big, huge pluses. And again, those are just for starters. We can delve into any one of those categories in much more detail. And then the second part that really kind of kicks in is, have you thought about which social media platform or platforms you are going to post on? And this is where your traffic is going to come from. So you need to make sure, and a lot of people will say, pick one, do it well, instead of trying to do multiple platforms at the same time, because each platform is a little bit different in its own way. And so when you're thinking about this, and there's 5 main online platforms that there's lots more, but like the first one is like Facebook, right? Everybody knows Facebook. And the second one is like Instagram. And the third one is TikTok. The fourth one is one people often forget about, but it's very popular, Pinterest. And the fifth one is one that most people don't even consider, and that is YouTube. All of these have benefits. And really what it does is, to take in and think about which platform you want to start with and why, and how it will benefit you in the long run, because that's where you want to go. Because on top of picking a platform, there's also the options of possibly monetizing the platform. What does that mean? And so you have to kind of break it down so that you kind of have a better idea. And between each of those platforms, you have the option of having a personal or a business profile. And there are pros and cons to both. So it all depends on what you are looking for, and how you want to run your business. Again, these are just tip of the iceberg questions for you to actually start thinking about. And so you do have to think about it. Now, let's think about content. And the first question is, can you post the same content on all platforms? And the answer is no, because each platform has different, well, you can, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. So the type of platform, because you have to figure out the type, and like, does that mean it's a video? Does that mean it's a still photo? Does that mean it's a, live? What type of posting content has the best success on your proven, on the platform that you want to start with? Again, that's something to dig into. The sizes, and each platform typically has a preferred size that it will suggest that you do. And then you also have to break that down into looking at, does the size that they suggest work on both desktop and phone? Because really the focus you want to put on is phone, right? Don't, mobile, that's where it has to look the best, because that's where people are going to see it. What colors do you want to use for your branding? What is branding? What does that look like? And then you also have to break down into the frequency of how often are you going to post on the various platforms. And the biggest goal of any platform is that your content stops the scroll, because that's really what is important, right? They want you to stop the scroll, because that's how you're going to get somebody's attention to see whether or not this is actually what you want to do. So you really need to do the research for your products or services, and look to see where the competitors are selling, and look at them closely to see what they're doing. You can't really tell by how successful somebody is on social media, because you just can't. But what you can do is, look to see what they're posting to give you ideas as to what you can post, because that's really par for the course. And so, but really analyze your competitors in the industry that you're going into. Now, the whole point of everything of doing online presence is to get people into your sales funnel. Now, I haven't done a lot of touching base on how the best sales funnels or what that all is, but really what you want is, you want all of your social media and all of any kind of marketing that you might do to drive people to your website. Really, that's what it is, to raise the level of awareness of what you're offering people, so that they can actually decide if what they want is what they want. Really, is how you have everything. And then you use the social media and your website to increase the interest on what you're offering, because those are the things that matter, right? You want to get them interested, you want them to be aware, you want them to be interested, and then you really want them to consider buying from you. And so that's where it becomes the consideration, because the end goal is for them to make a purchase of whatever your product or service or anything that you're offering is. And how do you move them into that? And so when you're looking at your online presence, you have to kind of keep the big picture all together and decide what it is that you're going to use to make that online presence worthwhile for you. Lots of little quick little things. And there is a worksheet that you can actually do, that is on our website. And so, but this is for you to keep in mind, that the sales funnel that you're building is the most important part. And so for today's gift card, what today's is, yes, to be eligible to be entered for today's gift card, within the next 24 hours, you have to comment below on wherever this video is, or send a message or send an email with the answer as to which platform you think will work best for you. And there's a little worksheet that you can go through. I don't really know if you need a worksheet, but I did one just in case you needed one, or wanted one, I guess I should say. And so that will help you kind of break down the pros and cons and different things about how you feel about the different platforms. And so on that note, and then the winner of today's draw will be announced tomorrow. And we will, tomorrow is day 5. And tomorrow we will be talking about SMART goals. And so if you have any questions about what we do, you can simply go to our website, bluesquaresuccess.ca, put in your email address, and you should be shown everything that we offer. And it's a great business in a box. I can't stress that enough. And so, but again, it might not be for everybody. So this is just kind of an information to show what everything is about. And on that note, you have a great day. Take care, and we will